Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Excited to hang out with you here again on Wisdom on Wednesday, and I'm your host, Ray. I missed you all last week. We didn't have an episode last week. I was on one of my dream trips. I had an invitation to go over to Africa and share a word with some people, and my heart was just on fire for the opportunity. Grateful for all the things that God has allowed me to experience in this portion of my life. The Bible says your gift will make room for you, put you in the presence of great men. So my soul is excited. I'm happy that you guys have been reaching out. You guys have been sharing the post. You've been talking about the post. I thank you for your interaction. Hello to all our new subscribers. I appreciate your business. I appreciate you helping us get a little bit deeper and finding out who we need to be on this wisdom journey. Per usual, today, wise friends, I wanted us to discuss a matter that all of us have to endure in order to get to the next level. So, wise people, there is no success without suffering. Wise people, there is no success without suffering. Far too often, many people have been taught to avoid suffering, to avoid pain, to avoid anything that's uncomfortable. But what I've learned in this short life is many things that are worth having, the things that are worth remembering, the things that are worth sharing my information, I had to suffer to really enjoy exactly how that thing had to come to pass. I can remember that my wife and I, married for 4 years, still trying to have a baby, and the doctors told us that we couldn't have a child, and we had to suffer trusting God and asking God to open our womb, asking God to even prepare us for the possibility of not even having a child, preparing our hearts to be content, to just have Him. Suffering. I know sometimes people over spiritualize some things, but when you have your heart set on something and you're trusting and you're believing, you have to suffer sometimes even to get the results that God's ordained. But in that time, we did get blessed in a position to where my wife became pregnant, and we named him Emmanuel. We knew it took God to do something for us, for him to be here. But I remember distinctly the delivery day. The delivery day was something that I'll never forget. My wife is kind, soft-spoken, and that day when she was in labor, and we had planned, and we're excited about this baby coming into our lives and what kind of parents we would be. She's pushing, and I'm pushing, and she's breathing, and I'm breathing, and she's having contractions. I didn't have any contractions, but I felt it on her face. And so as she was continuing to go through the process of delivering this baby she's been waiting for, I was rubbing her shoulder, trying my best to do the best thing I can do as a husband. And as polite as she possibly could, she just looked over to me and she said, "Would you please stop touching me?" In that moment, in that whole thought process, I said, well, maybe she's just irritated right now. I'll start back rubbing her shoulder a little bit later. She doesn't know what she needs. And she looked me right in my face and she says, I'm in this position because of you. Stop touching me right now. So she was elated because she was suffering, but she was suffering because the success of her prayer life was coming to fruition. That baby was coming forth. That baby was causing her great pain, but ultimately at the end of that pain, she was going to be a successful mother. It's difficult at times to really know that there's fruit at the end of the fertilizer. That while you're spreading fertilizer, it stank. While you're spreading out all the things that's going to hopefully help your dreams come to pass, it causes tears, it causes cuts on your hands, all types of things that you have to work. You have to work the ground. You have to put the seed in the ground. You've got to water. You've got to do all this pruning, all this process ultimately so you can have growth, success. But you see, if you avoid the pain, if you avoid the suffering, if you avoid the tripping and falling in familiar territory, you won't learn how to dodge things that can jump out and grab you. You sometimes become comfortable, and when we become comfortable, we don't grow. You see, we grow the most in times that we suffer, because when we suffer, it causes our brain to expand. And when our brains expand, we learn. So suffering isn't just to punish you. Suffering is to prepare you. Suffering allows you to prepare how to learn in the process while you're waiting. Suffering prepares you to hold on to what you're growing. Suffering teaches you how to continue to give God praise for the things that he's done in your life. You see, anytime you're building something, you're always going to suffer. Even when you're building a foundation, you're framing up the ground, you're clearing the ground because you want to possibly erect a building. And when you're erecting that building, never forget this. If you want it to be several stories up in the air, you first have to go down in the ground 4 stories. Why do I got to go down before I can go up? Well, in order for that building to sustain itself 7, 8, 9 stories above ground, you first have to go down. You have to go down so the foundation is firm. So you just don't have something flat on surface. So when weather comes or when storm comes, what you built won't fall over. But that process, family, of going down 4 levels for a foundation, that process of suffering, of digging deep into your old trauma, of when you're trying to go forward, it seems like all your pain from your past comes up, digging down in new relationships, trying your best to find out if this is your true authentic self. Do you really need to avoid situations, or do you need to learn how to navigate having hard conversations and stop running? Digging in, trying to find your voice, trying to find who you really are in this season of your life. It's difficult when you're trying to build something because the thing that you're building is something that's going to help other people. And when you're trying to build something to help other people, sometimes people don't see the vision like you. My wife and my family, we were blessed to be able to plant a church, to start a church in 2017. Eyes bright. The vision was plain. The mission was clear. But it's easy when you start off and the vision is in your mind and in your heart. But when you have to articulate that vision and help people keep that vision before them and pray that people take care of the vision and the dream that you have in your heart, it's hard. It's difficult because people won't see your dream like you see it. People won't stay up at night about your dream like you. So when you are building, you suffer. You suffer because sometimes the people that you started off with aren't the people that you're going to finish with. Sometimes the people that you prayed the most for are the people that don't pray for you. Sometimes when you start off something with all types of ambition, all types of capital, all types of people in your corner, when you really, really pursue your dream, you won't have the same amount of people cheering you on when you get closer to your dream. Sometimes it's easier for people to hear you talking about your dream, and they can anticipate that, they can accept that. But the closer you get to your dream of actualizing that thing and actually being in a space of touching it, sometimes that irritates them. So not because you achieved it, but they didn't. And when they don't achieve the things that they dreamt of, now you have become a target. It's hard. It's hard to try to build something. It's hard to try to stand out and build a legacy for your family. It's hard to know that you're going to do something that sometimes you're going to have to stand by yourself. You suffer because success is in your sights. Suffering is just a byproduct of what success will look like. You don't really even understand what success is until you suffer. You really don't know what it's like to have only one more payment left in your own personal bank account to pay for your business expense. Suffering. And many people know that I've been married for 25 years this May. And I'm super excited about that because that's an awesome goal of my wife and I, is that we will be a couple that we took divorce off the table as soon as we got married. Just because we didn't talk about divorce didn't mean that we didn't have opportunities, that we had to really lean on the Lord to help us stay married. When you're trying to build something, when you're trying to build a business, when you're trying to build a family, when you're trying to build a concrete marriage, sometimes you got to suffer. Realize when you have 2 adult people trying to live this life together, everything's not going to go the way you want it to go. Every conversation, you're not going to win. You're not going to have the best ideas all the time. There are going to be instances in your life where the person the closest to you is the person that can hurt you the most. But don't be afraid of that, because in that suffering, now you can celebrate the successes. You can celebrate buying that first house together. You can celebrate having that first child together. You can celebrate graduating from college together. These are all things that Mari and I celebrated together. And we're excited that we were able to encourage each other, not so I can just watch her walk across the stage with honors. I can remember when she suffered and she was studying across that bed day and night, going to school on Saturday afternoons and making certain that she took care of our home. And when she was done taking care of me, she went and took care of herself. Suffering. It's better to succeed and to let people see your accolades, but they don't see the behind the scenes. They don't see the things that you labored in. They don't see the things that you gave up for your dream. They don't understand what it means that I'm taking my vows serious, that I'm not going to let a disagreement tear up my marriage. I'm not going to let my wandering eye get in the way of the woman I vowed my life to. She's not going to allow my pig-headedness to make her walk off and leave me because she didn't win an argument. You understand? When you're in a situation, you have to decide that for us to be successful, we've got to learn how to speak to each other. We've got to learn how to respect one another. We've got to learn that this conversation may be getting a little heated. We love each other too much to talk to each other in a manner in which we're talking to each other right now. So if you really want to build something special, you got to understand there will be times that you're going to suffer. There's going to be times where you're not going to feel appreciated. It's going to seem like the love is not reciprocated. It's going to seem like maybe the flame is going out. But what's the best advice when you're outside in the wilderness and your fire is going out and you know that fire is what's going to keep you warm at night? Well, you go and you find some more kindling and put it on that fire to make sure that the fire stays lit. So versus just walking off and trying to find a brand new fire, you go and find the kindle that keeps your personal fire burning between you and your spouse. That's how you keep the things going. That's how you continue to fight for what you want to be successful. That's how you continue to go through together. Because if you really want to build something serious, there are going to be some challenges. If you really want to build something that's going to be successful, there are going to be some obstacles. If you really want to build something that's going to be impactful, that people are going to look at you and wonder, how did they make it? Well, I'll give you the advice. What you do is you ask God to give you the patience with that person the way he gives patience to you. You ask God to give you graceful eyes that you can continue to be graceful when that person doesn't live up to your own personal expectations. You ask God to remind you that you're not all that in a bag of chips. So when you look at other people, you want to indict them. Ask the Lord to remind you of how many times you failed him. And what will happen is you'll become more empathetic for, as God put us together to sanctify both of us. He didn't put us together to be perfect people. He gave you somebody that you needed. He gave you somebody that's going to keep you on your face. God gave you somebody that's going to help you learn to forgive. God gave you somebody that's going to make you more loving, more kind. Somebody that's going to help you recognize that you're not always right. And that's what a successful marriage is. Not that we're walking down the street holding hands all the time. There's a time and a place for that. But there's also a time where you love somebody enough to tell them that we need to have a conversation in the driveway. We need to talk about some things because I love you too much for us to just be walking past each other like ships in the night. It's important, friends, that if you want something to be successful, you don't mind suffering having hard conversations. If you want somebody to be successful, you don't mind telling them the tricks. You don't mind sharing with them the things that worked for you. And sometimes the hardest thing to do, if you really want to have a successful relationship, the hardest thing, and it's a suffering, it's a laborious piece, that sometimes the best thing you can do to make your relationship best is to keep your mouth closed. Because many times we mess up when we say too much. And that's suffering. So when we suffer, we put our minds in a space to grow. When we suffer, we put our hearts in a position to learn. When we suffer, our hearts and our minds and our bodies are conditioned that thing didn't kill me, so I'll show up tomorrow to be more successful. I don't have losses. I have learning opportunities. So when I suffer, I realize that I'll be back tomorrow and I'll try it again. So wise friend, I pray that this word was encouraging to you, and I ask that you continue to keep me and my family in your prayers as we continue to strive in the spaces and the places that God has called us to be, as we continue to try our best to do the things that he's asked us to do. If we fail, if we succeed, it's going to all be to the glory of God. I pray that you have a blessed day and a blessed week, and remember that God loves you more than you could ever understand. This was Ray with Wisdom on Wednesday. Take care.